Cinder Rope TV, this is Kurt, and now for the real news, the non-yellow journalist version of the news that actually is real information that can hopefully wake you up to get you on a path of research to find out what's really going on. This Dilbert cartoon here probably has more news than you're going to get in a long, long time. And it says, "I can't afford to pay my mortgage this month." The dog says, "There's no reason to worry. I doubt your bank can afford the postage to send you an eviction notice." That didn't make me worry any less. And then he asks, "Well, how are we set for firearms?" And that's probably the best accurate accounting of what's really going on in households across America in the discussions that are happening. With everything that's going on in the economy, I think it's real important that Clinton puts climate on front burner. Oh man, I'll tell you, boy, that global warming thing, that's the most important thing, definitely, with the whole economic meltdown happening. Really important that we have that. Oh, well, except for the fact that we're bracing for the, coldest winter on record. But let the games continue. Let the lies continue. Global warming. They can't even call it, they're not even supposed to call it that anymore. They're supposed to call it climate change because they look like idiots when it gets cold. Well, global warming can trigger a cooling trend. I can't believe they fall for that one. Speaking about the economy, I got a friend back in California. He runs a small business, and his business is taking a pretty big hit. And he told me he's not been paying his mortgage for over a year. And the bank has not even started foreclosure proceedings on him. And I think if you were to call around and talk to a lot of your friends throughout the country, if they were willing to open up to you, I think they'd probably say the same thing. Because the banks don't want to tell people, the American people, how bad it really is. They don't have to report as often the people that aren't making their mortgage payments. They do have to report the foreclosures. Well, they really get reported through the courts. But so that information is not being tracked. It's kind of like underemployment. I mean, how do you track underemployment? It's not until somebody knocks on the office for unemployment insurance that they start really seeing those numbers, and that's starting to get bad. And I've got a huge list here, and I'm not going to go through it just because it's too much information. But I will post it in the comments. This is all the money that is in the new stimulus package. The money that's in the new stimulus package, and this information is just absolutely absurd. I mean, you thought the last one was bad. This one is nothing short of just an entire bill full of pork, full of just wasteful spending, things that will not stimulate the economy. It's absolutely amazing. I mean, they'd be better off taking this money and just sending us all a check and letting us do what we want with it, because this will do nothing to stimulate the economy. I mean, there's just so many. I can't even really go into it. It basically is broken down into government facilities, rehab, loans for this, loans for that, things like broadband expansion, converter box program, more research, facilities for the military upgrades, some military spending. There's a lot of military operations and maintenance is in here. And that really doesn't belong in this bill. This bill's supposed to be a stimulus bill. Why is this other stuff all in here? So, yeah, a lot of kind of environmental stuff. There's probably a whole page on environmental research and spending. Here's the one I think that I'll leave it with, because there's just so much. You just have to take a look at it. It's pretty bad. You know how much small businesses are hurting right now? The government wants to give you, how much? It's like, okay, hold on, just wait for it. They want to give you $426 million. That's right. No, I didn't, that's not a typo. $426 million for small business loans. So, I mean, that's just kind of absurd. That's not going to help. That wouldn't help out the small businesses in California, let alone the nation. So, I got another thing I'll post on the side, but I just want to get straight to the point. I used to think that they genuinely wanted to fix this. And I thought that because I didn't look around and see that they were ready to do all the things that they want to do with, martial law and all that stuff. And I still don't think they were ready. But I think they looked at the situation and went, we don't really have a choice. It is so screwed up, and we have screwed it up so bad that because of the way they packaged the mortgages as investments, and it created a monster they didn't have control over. I think that now they're at the point where they're just prolonging the inevitable. The economy is crashing. A global depression is almost upon us. When they're talking about recession and how bad it is throughout the world, it's bad. And I think knowing what I know about the banks lying to us, knowing what I know about all the stuff that I used to believe in, things like CPI and all those things, what a fraud they are. They're not telling you the truth. The government is not your friend. If you think the government is your friend, you're going to be really sad that day when the awakening comes for you. You better wake up right now. You need to watch Freedom to Fascism, From Freedom to Fascism. That'll open your mind to a lot of things, and then just start looking around. You'll see. The government's not your friend. There's an image behind me. I put that there for a reason. Because that is the image you're going to start seeing on our American streets if we don't get these politicians under control. And honestly, I don't think we have the ability to do that. Physically, we have the ability to do it. We just don't have, what it would take to do it. There's a book I think you should read. It's called Crossing the Rubicon. The author's name is Michael Ruppert. I haven't even gotten through half this book, but it's like a roadmap of really what's going on in our world in the last probably 30 years. So that's a good book, Crossing the Rubicon, Michael Ruppert. You should check it out. It's a big book. I don't think it's cheap. I think it's like $35. It's a pretty big book, but it's like an encyclopedia of the crookedness of our economic and foreign policy over the last few years. My advice to you, buy food, lots of food. And I don't mean go buy a bunch of MREs. Buy food that you eat. If you eat a lot of rice, buy a 6-month supply of rice. Cycle it through. If you eat a lot of pasta, do the same. Start growing your own food. What's the worst case? You have lots of food, and you don't have to go shopping as much if everything fixes itself. So the worst case is you're ready. Best case is everything does fall apart like we've been telling you, and you have everything you need for your family to survive. You don't need to depend on the government. Because when the government when you have your hand out to the government, there's always a catch. Whatever, you name it, whatever the catch is. You're giving up some freedom. You're giving up some liberty when you have to rely on the government. And buy guns and buy ammo. Lots of ammo. Whether or not you want to use either of these things, they will be worth a fortune on the black market. And if you've got a lot of money invested in the stock market, I know you think, well, I want to get that. I lost 40% and then you need to get out of there. You need to find a way to pull out and get in something safer. Diversify, really diversify. The stock market, if you're in the stock market, is U.S. currency. That's what it is. So buy guns, buy ammo, and get ready. I really wish it wasn't in the state. I really wish we weren't in the state we're in, but I really think we are, and you need to be ready. So there's lots of us out here making videos on how to get ready and what to do. Start checking around because it's all over the place, and it is what it is.